Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Ask a Leader segment of our member forum this afternoon. This session is focused on the financial status, performance, and service of BECU. So before we get started, just want to mention if you are looking for a different session, if you got into this one by accident, you can definitely go to the bottom of your screen and navigate to the session that you want to attend. But without further ado, I'll introduce myself. I'm John Clymer. I'm the Vice President of Strategic Support here at BECU, and I will be the moderator for this session. And tonight, we're joined by three of BECU's most senior leaders. We have Benson Porter, Melba Bartels, and Scott Strand, who each play a critical role in maintaining the credit union's financial health and performance, which allows us to ensure that we can offer programs and services to our members and help them achieve their financial goals. So tonight we'll start with introductions of these three leaders, and then I'll ask them to share a little bit about their areas of focus. And after they've introduced themselves, we'll go into some questions where they can talk about some of the things that they're focused on for 21 and 22. And then we'll open it up for some questions from the audience. We always like to keep these interactive so we can stay in touch with our members. So I'd encourage you to use the chat function if you have any questions or if you hear anything that piques your interest during these comments. So let's go ahead and get started with introductions and areas of focus. And so Benson, if it's all right with you, let's have you go first.
Fantastic. Thanks, John, and welcome everyone. Thanks for joining us this evening. As John said, I'm Benson Porter. I've been President and CEO of BECU for 10 years. And in my role, there's really kind of three main functions. One, I work with our board of directors and the leaders in our organization to make sure we're aligned on our strategic direction. And then in order to execute on that, work to ensure we have the talent and culture that really promotes the financial well-being of our members in our communities. And then probably the most tactical is really work on the execution of the plans that we come up on an annual basis to really fulfill our purpose. So it's really kind of those three measures: work with the board, ensure we have the talent and culture, and then make sure we execute against our plans. So with that, Melba, I'll throw it to you.
Thanks, Benson, and good evening, everybody. Really appreciate you spending some time with us this evening. I am Melba Bartels, Executive Vice President and Chief Financial Officer for BECU. I recently celebrated my 5-year anniversary, a terrific 5 years, and I oversee all aspects of BECU's financial strategy, management, and performance. And that includes balancing our long-term sustainable growth with our return to member and ensuring that we're providing our members with as much value as we can. Scott, how about you?
Thanks, Melba. And my name is Scott Strand, and my title is Chief Operating Officer, and I've been here for just under 14 years now at BECU. And in my role, I lead our operations division, which includes all of our lending areas, including consumer, mortgage, and small business lending, our branch network, our contact center, our investment services and trust area, and a few other functions within BECU. So, John, I'm excited to be here with you and Melba and Benson, and I'll turn it back to you to get us started.
Nice, just hearing the consistent leadership focus on serving our members, whether it's strategically, whether it's providing the foundation so that we can operate, and like Scott said, just direct service one-on-one with our members. And so thank you for that leadership. We have a lot to talk about tonight, and when we look back at 2021, it was yet another unique year that brought us some challenges, but some incredible opportunities to serve our members. And so I'd love to start by having each of you share maybe a couple of highlights that you had from 2021 that really stood out to you. And Benson, I'm going to start with you again, if that's okay.
Sure. Thanks, John. Yeah, obviously last year was a really busy year. When I tend to think about how we performed, I kind of think about from three perspectives: our key constituencies, obviously starting with our members, then our communities, and then our employees. All are equal importance, but kind of thinking about those three. In terms of our membership, we probably the biggest highlight for our membership is that while a lot of consumers continue to improve their financial standing during the pandemic, we saw spending go down and saving go up. Generally, the BECU membership really did extremely well in terms of improving their financial standing during the past year. Our members kind of grew their financial strength by about 300% over national average benchmarking that we see from the National Financial Health Network. So we're pretty proud about that from a membership perspective, that our members are leaving the pandemic in better financial standing than we came into it. In terms of our community, we started a kind of unique program in 2013 that really allowed our members to participate in our community grant making program. We called it the People Helping People grant program. And that program continued to mature last year. And so we've granted over $3 million, of which over 500,000 was granted last year that was member directed. And what was really unique last year is that over the course of time, we have awarded awards to over 120 organizations. We started last year providing a collaboration grant where some of the nonprofits that have received previous awards have started collaborating with one another in order to really further their reach in our communities. And we started funding that as a kind of a special side focus area as part of the program. So we continue to mature that program, which we're excited about its impact and our ability of our members to participate in our grant-making philanthropy activity. And then lastly, from an employee perspective, we continue to lean into the opportunities of the DEI work that there is ongoing across our organization. And of most meaningful impact from my perspective is that we had nearly half of our employees kind of voluntarily participate in employee resource groups that were really generated in areas of interest to our employees. So our first group was a veterans group that was set up, and our most recent group that was set up this past year was around environmental sustainability. So it's great to see the authentic participation of our employees in our communities and what's important to our members. Melba, how about you?
Yeah, thanks, Benson. I think most of us would agree that the last 2 years have been very challenging, brought a lot of challenges to all of us. And if I look back on the highlight for last year and think about what I'm most proud of, it would have to be how we collectively faced those challenges for the second year of a pandemic. Like most financial institutions, COVID had significant impact on our financial results over the last 2 years. And despite these challenges, based on thoughtful capital planning and disciplined financial management practices, we were able to maintain a strong and stable capital position for the credit union, which in turn enables us to then continue strong support for our members, for our communities, and for our employees, again, during the second year of a pandemic. Something that I and the rest of the leadership team are very proud of. In 2021, we were able to continue our practice of returning more value to our members than we earn in net income. This comes in the form of better rates and lower fees than bank averages. We refer to that as RTM, or return to member. It's something that we measure and we manage to. A couple of examples of how we did that last year include offering our consumers and our business members financial relief by waiving fees, offering deferred payments on loans. In total, we provided relief actions for over 2,100 members on balances of over $35.3 million. Also, through our unique reprice program, more than 48,000 members saved an estimated $2.2 million last year. When they improved their credit scores or their financial practices, we then recognized that by lowering their loan rate if they were not already at the lowest rate available. And we did all that while continuing to invest in critical areas to ensure that the credit union is sustainable for the future. On a more personal note, I'm also very proud of how our BECU team, our employees, came together in support of each other, in support of the credit union, and in support of our members, again, during what has been a very challenging past 2 years. Scott, I'll turn it over to you.
Thanks, Melba. And I think a lot of themes emerging here, and certainly challenging time, but also some great opportunities. And I'm pretty proud of things that we delivered for our members. And there's a couple of things I'd highlight. The first is around in support of our financial health and well-being of our members, which is at the core of our purpose as a cooperative. And just a few things I'd highlight with that is in 21, we expanded access to membership at BECU, just made it easier to qualify to be a member at BECU. And we also expanded access to products like our secured credit card, which is a great product to help members build credit. And last fall, we had a financial health campaign where our employees across the organization teamed up to provide referrals and advice to our members to support whatever their product and service needs were. And just to highlight one thing we're particularly proud of with that campaign is that during that campaign, the number of members who went through our financial health check process increased by 500%. And then we also helped navigate over 4,600 small business members through the SBA PPP loan forgiveness process, which meant over $150 million in debt was forgiven or eliminated for our members. And the amount of loans that we granted in that program over the last couple of years is equivalent to around 11,000 jobs saved through the SBA program. So I'm gratified that we were able to help our members through that process and eliminate that debt. Then a couple areas I would also highlight are around just some growth and investment. And last year, we welcomed nearly 12,000 small business members and rolled out a new online business making platform. We also continue to grow our business and commercial lending area, including the expansion of our affordable housing loan program, which is a great program to support affordable housing in the greater Seattle area. I'd also highlight growth in our mortgage area. We wrote over $3 billion in mortgages last year to over 7,000 members who refinanced their current mortgage and saved a lot of their monthly payments, and nearly 2,500 members who we helped buy a home. Almost all those mortgages were at low fixed rates, which really protects our members from now what we see in the rising rate environment. And so have to echo, like Benson and Melba, John, as I turn it back to you, that the thing I'm most proud of is how our employees showed so much resilience through a challenging time, supporting one another. BECU employees, like members in the broader community, were impacted by the pandemic, including we lost several long-term employees to the pandemic. But also our employees were really resilient and dedicated in service to our members through a challenging time. And that's the thing I'm most proud of, in addition to things that we delivered for our members. So John, I'll turn it back.
Great. Thank you very much for those comments. And, I heard the word proud a lot in the comments that Benson, Melba, and Scott shared, and also purpose. And that just kept resonating with me. Credit unions, the credit union difference is that everything we do, as Melba said, is so that we can give back to the membership, to the community, and to our members. And I think those were just some outstanding examples that you all shared that show how we're really looking out for those that we are here to serve. So thank you so much. Now we want to switch gears to 2022, and my gosh, it's already May 12th. So hard to believe, and we've already done so many things, at this point in the year. But really excited to have each of you share some of what you're most excited about 2022. So this time, why don't I switch it up a bit, and I'll turn it over to you, Melba, first.
Thanks, John. I mentioned earlier that we've faced many challenges over the last couple of years of the pandemic. And as we enter into this year, we are continuing to see some pretty significant volatility in the national and the global economy. So, that presents challenges as well. But also, as I mentioned earlier, we entered this year with strong financial footing as represented by our capital base. And as we're already now several months into the new year, John, as you mentioned, we are seeing strong momentum to improved financial results as we continue to look to recover to our longer term sustainable levels of profitability after the challenges that we faced the last 2 years in terms of profitability. So what does this mean to our members? This means that in addition to maintaining the health of your credit union, we will also have more resources to support you, our members, our communities, and our employees this year than we have over the last couple of years, and expect to into the future as well. This year, we expect to see higher return to member. We expect to see higher community giving, as well as supporting additional investments to help enhance speed, quality, and security across our member and our employee experiences. So despite the continued challenges of the volatile environment, we are seeing strong momentum and very excited to continue to recover from the past year's challenges and provide additional value to our members as we look forward. And I will turn that over to Scott.
Yeah, thank you, Melba. And I think, I won't say I think things will become normal, but we're, anxious to get a lot of these challenges behind us. And one of the areas that we were challenged in particular, and more recently even with COVID and the Omicron variant, was our member service staff were impacted by that. And we've struggled to provide the service levels and wait times or extended hold times and things not to our BECU standard or at pre-pandemic levels. And so, as Melba mentioned, the resources we have and our members' money, our members' capital in this cooperative is going to be reinvested in a lot more staffing and other investments, specifically around member service. It is a difficult labor market, but we've had success attracting employees who want to work for a purpose-driven organization. And earlier this year, we hired our largest new hire class ever in the contact center, over 50 employees. And they've been trained and engaged, and they're on the phones, and we're really starting to see our service levels improve there as a result of that, especially in the last few weeks. And this staffing investment is one example of the kind of investment we're making with your money and with the resources that we have. And of course, these investments they will reduce wait times, but we're also investing in other areas to reduce the need to call in the first place with more automated options and self-serve options, as well as reduce the interaction time that members have with us once they are on the phone with us. And so that's a big area of focus for us and investment. And we really want to return to the service levels that our members should expect from us. And then I'd also highlight a focus on member service in our branches. It's been a challenge, of course, in the neighborhood financial centers with some of the protocols over the last several months and during the pandemic. But again, we're starting to see that normalize. Our traffic is returning to the branches, and we're investing in more staffing there as well, but also in implementing some other service enhancements. Recently, we just expanded our digital loan signing capability, which avoids a trip to the NFC, to the neighborhood financial center, for most loan signings. So we started a video banking pilot. We added teller and cash capability in one of our branches in Spokane. And we're going to implement a new lobby management system this summer, which is going to be more efficient and will have expanded appointment capability. And then finally, we're actively looking for a location for a full service branch in Pierce County. We have a lot of members down there and busy branches, and we'd like to find a great location in the Tacoma Lakewood area that would be a larger center with mortgage, business, wealth management, and teller services if we can find the right location. So there's just a number of different things that we're investing in right now, and particularly in our branches and our contact center to enhance the member service that we're going to deliver to our members in 22. With that, I'll turn it back to you, Benson.
Great. Thanks, Scott and Melba. It's hard to follow you both because I agree with all of your highlights. Under the theme of kind of the member community and employee lens on the member front, I would probably highlight for the upcoming year continued work around helping our members improve their financial well-being by focusing on additional savings products and services. And so we expect to launch a product that we've been piloting, which is a savings envelope product, which allows a member to really segment their savings or money market account around those goals that they have for themselves financially. So we think that would be a great tool to really ease savings, which will be really help folks further their work towards a financial resiliency. On the community front, our community foundation, BECU Foundation, has traditionally focused on providing member students with access to scholarships to pursue higher education or technical training. And we've been retooling what the foundation's focused on. We expect it to expand that this coming year to really focus on access beyond just higher education or technical schools, but also into areas that would allow more individuals, businesses, take advantages of the benefits of belonging to the financial cooperative and the services that we offer. So we're excited about that shift and broadening of our community focus. And lastly, on the employee front, we have a number of pilots that you've probably heard about through this evening that we've been undertaking, and we're continuously becoming a greater learning organization, which is, I think, going to be a great cultural benefit for our organization going forward, and excited to see that come to fruition. So, John, back to you.
All right, thank you for those great comments. I kept hearing about service and how we're needing to be where our members need us when they need us, and there were such great examples there that we're able to do based on, like Melba said, the strong foundation we continued through the pandemic. Now we're able to build momentum going forward to serve our members even better. And so before we move on, Scott, you had mentioned, increasing our service levels again, because our members had said, we really want you to be available. I heard something like our wait times in the contact center have been below 2 minutes this week. Is that right?
Yeah, they have. I mentioned that our service levels improved quite a bit in recent weeks as a function of that investment. And in fact, I was sharing with Benson just earlier, we actually had a 1 second wait time on Tuesday. Now that's very, very unusual. It's not usually going to be that low, but our service levels are improving there, and we're just focused on sustaining that and even further enhancing some of the investments so members don't have to call in the first place. But that's right, John.
Wow, that's definitely some momentum to be proud of. Thanks, Scott. Thanks for that. So yes, we're going to go into a Q&A segment. And as I mentioned earlier, we love this to be interactive. So hopefully you've been typing some comments or questions into the chat as we've heard from these key leaders in the company. We're bringing in another one of our great leaders and teammates, Hazel May Overturf, who's on the screen now, that's going to help us to field some questions that we'll direct to these leaders. And so welcome, Hazel May. Good to see you. And do we have any questions?
Yes, thanks so much, John. Thank you, everyone, and really excited for this particular group. I have a few questions that were submitted earlier, so just as John mentioned, don't be shy, put a question in the chat. I will make sure to give them all to our CEO, and that way we get all the answers answered here today. Just joking. So I do have a question, though. It's a theme that came up in a few member submissions earlier around, and especially we actually heard it with all of you leaders today talking about growth. We heard growth a few times in each of your kind of sharings that you had earlier. Why is growth so important to our credit union? And the question that I think will be a good counter to that is, how can we make sure that we still maintain how we stay a credit union more so than turning into a bank with that focus on growth?
Wow, that's a great question. So I am going to stick with your suggestion. We'll go to the CEO. So Benson, what are your thoughts on that?
Fantastic. I had two immediate thoughts, Hazel May, to the question around growth. The first is, as a cooperative, we don't go out like banks and raise resources outside in the market. We really self-generate our resources. And so in order to generate enough resources to continue to reinvest back in the organization for the betterment of the entire organization, that's a benefit of growth. And the other, and I think is even more important, is the purposes of our organization is to improve the financial well-being of our members, our community. And so to the extent we can reach more people, we feel like we can fulfill our purpose that much more. So it's really the benefit of being able to help more people. And as we bring more people and welcome them to our cooperative, we'll have more resources to serve everyone just that much better as we have more resources. I see the benefit of growth really being both purpose and resources we have to service all of our members. But I'm sure Melba is always helping us measure our growth, and Scott helps us execute on it. So they may have some additional thoughts.
Yeah, Benson. I mean, I would just add to your comments. And first of all, it's a great question. There's a lot of reasons why growth is important. I'll try to touch on a few of them, but I'll also would like to draw a distinction between growth just for growth's sake and sustainable growth. And that will become important in a minute as I further my comments. But one of the things we have to realize is, we are in the financial services industry. As a credit union, we have many competitors in that space. And the industry is continuing to change. Consumer demands continue to change, and the pace of change has been accelerating. And so if we are standing still and not growing, that it probably puts us at a disadvantage. With respect to our competitors, it puts us at a disadvantage to be able to continue to serve you, our members, and to fulfill our purpose. So growth to me is an imperative, and it ensures that we are earning our right to continue to serve you in a dynamic and competitive industry. And then, as I mentioned earlier, it isn't just growth for growth's sake, but it needs to be sustainable growth. And so how do we ensure that we can be here not only today and tomorrow for you, our members, but that you can rely on us to be here and be safe and sound 5 years from now, 10 years from now, a generation from now. And so that's incredibly important as well. So those are just a few thoughts that I have related to growth, and in particular, sustainable growth. Scott, any additional thoughts that you would like to add?
Yeah, I would just echo. I think growth it's an outcome, and our purpose is to serve our members and their financial well-being. And if we do that effectively, we will see the growth as a byproduct of delivering on our purpose. And that's why I think it's so important. But of course, we'll do it responsibly and sustainably.
That's great. Thank you all for that. Growth, it's grounded in our purpose, and that's what we said. That's the credit union difference. So thank you. Hazel May, do we have another question?
Yes, we have another one, and this one's also a very exciting question and kind of is a great follow-up to the reason why growth is so helpful for BECU. We would like to throw this towards Scott, if you don't mind. What are some of the new or expanded products that are going to be coming in 2022 for our members?
Yeah, thanks, Hazel May. And one of the ones I'd highlight, and we've touched on a few, but I'd highlight our personal loan unsecured product. That's a product where we just needed a better solution for our members. And so we've done a lot of work with that product this year already, and we've expanded some of our loan amounts and other parameters, readjusted our pricing so it's more competitive. We've also reduced documentation requirements and simplified the process. And so that's just a product that we needed a better solution and we needed a better way to deliver it to our members. But it's really important right now, and that's why I'm highlighting it, because it's a great product for debt consolidation and for members that may have credit balances tied to variable rates in this rising rate environment. It can be a really effective solution to kind of protect yourself from higher payments with rising rates. So that's one that we're focused on quite a lot. We're starting to see a lot more members take advantage of that product already, and one that we're excited about for more growth in 2022 because it's going to play such a critical role in our members' financial health. A few others I'd mention is we're also expanding our insurance referral products. We have some referral relationships on home and auto insurance, and now have term life and accidental death insurance options as well. We're also adding a residential construction product. The housing market is difficult. There's a shortage of supply. Our members ask this product of us, and so we're adding that this summer. I'm excited to add that product as well. Those are just a few I'd highlight for now, Hazel.
That's great. Another great just examples where we're meeting our members where their needs are at, and so those are really, really purposeful products and services we're rolling out. So thanks, Scott. Hazel May, I think we have another question.
Yes. So again, you all are catching on to the questions here. You mentioned interest rates. That is very top of mind for our members. We had quite a few submissions on that particular topic. How is the interest rate environment affecting BECU, and can we expect rates on savings to go up with all of this change?
All right, I'd love to get that over to to Melba, our CFO, because I think you have a good answer for that question.
Well, it's a great question, and it's it's not a simple answer because it has lots of implications, obviously. But I will do my best to answer that. And how does the interest rate environment affect BECU? How does that then translate to, and how does it affect our members? And particularly given the volatility of interest rates. So we went from last year, which saw historically low and flat interest rates and interest, yield curve, to now the environment that we're in, and changed fairly rapidly to a more inflationary rate environment and rising rates. From a BECU perspective, a low flat interest rate environment, it does suppress our profitability. It suppresses our revenues. And so a rising rate environment is going to help us recover from some of the profitability challenges we had during the COVID times. At least in the near term, it will. From a member perspective, it really depends on whether you are more of a borrower and you have more loans than you have savings, or if you are a saver. Obviously, in the low rate environment, our members who are borrowers were benefited from very low rates on our loan products. But our members who are savers, on the other hand, saw rates decline. And so now with the rising rate environment, we will start to see some of the flip side of that. I will say that BECU is committed to offering competitive rates on all of our products. As we talked about earlier, we do focus on how we provide value back to our members. And as interest rates fluctuate, which they have been, we assess the market to ensure that we can provide our members with the best value possible, while still making sound investments for our membership and our sustainable growth. Last year, as I said, interest rates dropped to historical low levels amid the pandemic. And in response, we did reduce interest rates on both loans and savings. and we'll continue to assess the market and evaluate those potential impacts to members as we work through a higher rate environment. It's something that we are actively working on as we speak.
Hey, Melba, thank you for that great company perspective on the interest rate environment. I wanted to give Scott a chance to talk about this. Scott, you have talked a lot about our member-facing areas, and I know just walking through our NFC lobbies, I oftentimes hear our members just talking about the economy and inflation, interest rates, and they're just kind of trying to figure out how to make their way through it. So I was wondering if you had any additional comments you could share on how this environment's impacting our members and how we would respond to that.
Yeah, John, that's a good question, and certainly now a new set of challenges that we're facing, and in the form of inflation and in these high rates, and certainly that can impact our members in many ways. Obviously, I kind of mentioned it before. An increase in rates could mean higher loan payments on variable credit. It's certainly harder to buy a house or a car now with higher payments than it was even 2 months ago. I think even where interest rates on mortgages are, it probably costs $300 or $400 more a month in a payment to buy the same house than you could have 2 months ago. And of course, with inflation, our dollars just aren't going as far, and so that impacts household budgets, and doesn't help the ability to save, to withstand emergency expenses and things like that. And so our members are impacted in many ways, and there's a number of things that when we think about our products or other services that we try to help with that, and especially with our products where the cost to acquire our products, we need to keep low, and we keep low. We don't have origination fees on products and annual fees and things like that. And so the cost to own or access a product is pretty low. We try to keep our rates competitive, but also add other ways and features that we can access products with. In mortgage, for example, we have a first-time home buyer grant that some members may qualify for, and a home rewards program, which can match our members with an agent, and you could get rebated back part of the commission or closing costs. So there's things like that where we focus on easy access to our credit products. Home equity, our home equity lines of credit right now are very competitive, because even though mortgage rates went up, that's a no fee, no appraisal expense product, and a better advantage now than the high first mortgage rates. But also other things around supporting members manage their budgets, things like our financial health check that I referenced, or GreenPath, who is a budget and debt counseling service provider that we refer members to for free. And then, of course, if members have difficulty making loan payments, we've got a whole suite of member assistance programs across the loan products and loan modification options. And so when our members are impacted by these types of things, we really try to have a comprehensive way in products and services of helping them work through that. But it's definitely an interesting and challenging time that way. We haven't seen rates increase this rapidly in a long time. But it's really a good question and a good topic right now.
Well, we really appreciate those insights, both from the company level, Melba, about, how you and your team are working to keep us strong through the environment so we can serve. And then Scott is very specific about the things we're doing to serve our purpose, which is to make sure that our members are financially healthy no matter what the conditions. So thank you both for that. Hazel May, have another question?
Yes, we're going to switch gears a little bit with this particular question. And members are asking about it. Because a lot of companies are talking about it. So a lot of companies out there are talking about diversity. And what is BECU doing to foster diversity, equity, and inclusion?
Oh, that's a great question, a very, very important one. And so let's start with Benson on that one. But I think on this one, Melba and Scott might have some input as well. But Benson, we'll turn it over to you.
Great, thanks, John, and thanks, Hazel. This is it's probably best to start. Why do we think this is important? Because as we work to serve our members, we think it's increasingly important as our membership and communities to become more diverse, that our organization reflects our communities so that we're in the best position to really serve the needs of our members. So we really see it as a business imperative, in addition to the right thing to do as an organization to make sure that we're reflective of our community. So I think I mentioned in some of my opening remarks about the how we've operationalized our DEI work around a build program, is what we've referred to it internally, which has really been focused on belonging, inclusion, and leveraging differences. So you can see it's really about how do we as an organization really bring our best self to service of our members. And so that's really where we've been focused. And as part of that, we launched a number of employee resource groups, which I think I've already mentioned, which has really been a highlight from this past year. And that it's very authentic of the organization really trying to focus in on a variety of various constituencies that we have interest in, that our members have interest in. And so we're really leaning into those and really getting some of the best ideas. And in fact, our member code of conduct, which was one of the outcomes over this past year of really making sure we have the type of operating environment for our employees and our members that we believe is appropriate. Was really an output of these employee resource groups and the feedback we were hearing from our colleagues in the organization about how we can continue to improve. So there's really been some operational improvements based upon feedback from our employees. Ms. Melba, Scott, other thoughts?
I think you covered it really well, Benson. Maybe just a couple of thoughts that I would add is it's just really gratifying to see BECU embrace this effort and take DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, take it seriously and not just pay lip service to it, but to really bring it alive. And there has been a tremendous amount of focus and momentum to really bring it to life within BECU. The organization has embraced it. And one of the things that we're doing in support of that is each and every employee is making a commitment within their goals on an ongoing basis with respect to how they will participate and help educate themselves and make an impact within the organization to support our goals there. So like I said, it's just an extremely gratifying thing to see and be a part of.
All right. Well, thank you for those comments there. And I just wanted to make sure everybody heard it. Benson mentioned build, and he said belonging, inclusion, leveraging differences, and he talked about us really reflecting the communities we do business in. And it starts with our employees. And just as an employee of BECU, I've just been so excited to see that, like Benson said, we've been encouraged and empowered to be our true selves and best selves at work so that we can do our best to go out and serve the people that we're here to serve. And I think the power is in that empowerment that is given to us in belonging, inclusion, leveraging differences. So thank you for those comments. Hazel May, another question?
Yes, we have one more question, another little bit of a pivot, but want to give a big shout out to our business members. You make up a large part of our membership and very important to us as an organization, but would love to hear, what is BECU doing to help our business members?
Well, being a direct report of Scott Strand, he always talks about how important this is in almost every single meeting. So Scott, I think it's natural to turn it over to you for some comments on this.
Sure. No, that's great. This is a topic I'm passionate about, and I get excited about because we have so much opportunity to serve our members. I mentioned we welcomed almost 12,000 small business members last year, and we have 70,000 small business members now. And so one of the things I mentioned already is that we have invested in a new business online banking platform that 40,000 members were converted to last fall. Some things that we have on our roadmap to continue to build our products and services. One is we're adding online domestic wires next week. And then we've got, even the week after that, some mobile app enhancements that are going to help the functionality and in that application. We're going to add more treasury management products like ACH and Positive Pay in the coming months. So there's a lot we're doing on that online banking platform. But we're also expanding, our lending products and simplifying approval processes. We want to offer and are increasing our offerings of SBA, traditional SBA products. We definitely participated in that PPP program, but we want to expand that as well. And another thing that we're working on is, and it relates to the question around diversity, because there's a member aspect of that as well, is that we're doing some things around supporting women and minority-owned businesses, and right now taking the form of one particular one, this partnership with Business Impact, where we're funding scholarships for business education, and there's another program through the UW, a Business Women's Entrepreneurial Program that we're engaged with and support financially. And we're also looking at how we can adapt our product set where necessary just to make sure that we can provide enough access to capital. That's probably the number one thing that you can do to support a newer or small business is make sure that they have access to capital. And so we're looking at our program specifically for that as well. And so this is an area just of continued growth for us. We've seen really good growth already, but a lot of opportunity to better serve the members we have, and for those that want to be part of our cooperative, I think serve new members in the future as well.
Thank you, Scott. And there's that concept again, this just grounding principle, serve our members. And so, this time has gone so quickly. We're at the end of the segment, but I want to again, thank Hazel May. Oh, she's off the screen. But thank you, Hazel May, for the questions. Benson, Melba, Scott, thanks for your leadership. I think what really came through today is we're keeping the credit union strong for a purpose, and that's for us to serve our members wherever and whenever they need us. And we want to do that both now and into the future. So thank you all for your great participation. Those of you out there, thank you for being here. We'd love it to keep it interactive. If you could give us some comments in the survey that we have below, we would love to hear from you. But again, we appreciate all of you. Have a great evening.